back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a close look at the C6 Z06. There are 10 things that surprised the heck out of me and I wish I knew before I bought my C6 Z06. Stay tuned to the end because the last one is actually a reoccurring thing that I do every time I fill up the gas tank. I have to go through this procedure. It was surprising that I had to do it, and the way you do it is very interesting. We'll get to that at the end of the video. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure you do. Let's go ahead and get started. So as we can see, I took the wheels off the car, and that's because I'm going to show you quite a few things behind the wheels and in the wheel wells. But the first thing we're going to start with is all of the exotic materials used all over this car. It's all over the place, from the engine, the roof, the cradle, everywhere. Even the body panels are exotic. In case you guys don't know, most body panels on Corvettes, like this for example, is fiberglass. I love fiberglass. It doesn't rust, unlike metal parts found in those cars. So this will never rust. It's a little bit harder to paint, but as long as you got the paint process down, it's not a big deal, and Corvette paint is pretty dang good. But I was surprised to know that these fenders are actually made of carbon fiber. So if you knock on this, and you knock on this, very different feeling. And this feels a lot stiffer. I'm gonna show you guys in detail what these carbon fiber fenders look like, because it's not what you may think. It's not an exposed weave by any means. So all of this is carbon fiber right here. And when you go to the underside, all of this is carbon fiber. And it's so rigid and so strong, yet so lightweight. And that's why they did it. And to show you kind of the inside, you can kind of see the carbon fiber weave in this cutout here. The next item is a little bit difficult to see from up here. So luckily, I took the wheel off and we can take a nice close look. Because I had no idea how much magnesium was actually used in this car. I'm gonna zoom in right here. You can see that blue discoloration there. It's not very usual to see that on normal steel or aluminum panels. Well, that's because that's magnesium. And that's what I call the patina that magnesium creates with time. It gets a little bit blue. That is so cool. And in case you didn't know, magnesium is a very lightweight but strong material that's rarely used in manufacturing because it's difficult to work with. It can be highly flammable if you, let's say you start sparking it on the ground or you add a lot of heat to it, it can become quite flammable. So there's no real benefit to using it except for the fact that it makes it more lightweight, stiffer, and stronger. And the fact that the entire engine cradle, I'm going to call it the engine cradle, but it's not just the engine cradle, there's also the subframe of the car where the suspension parts mount to. You can see that lower A-frame or lower A-arm connect to that. It's super cool. And there it is in all its glory. That is the magnesium engine cradle. But that's not all. There are more parts that are made out of magnesium. Unfortunately, I'd have to take the car apart to show you, but the steering wheel, where the steering wheel mounts to the car, is also magnesium. And finally, under this roof panel, they made an entire magnesium subframe to stiffen up the chassis and stiffen up the car without adding too much weight. How cool is that, guys? We're here back at the suspension because the next one, again, I didn't know this before I was a Corvette owner. In fact, I owned a C8 Corvette, and again, I didn't understand this or know this until I bought this thing. And this is a joke, by the way, so don't get all huffy and puffy in the comments. They stole a Silverado truck leaf spring and used it as the suspension piece for the Corvettes. Of course, that's a joke, right? But that is a highly designed and engineered piece of suspension. It is technically a leaf spring, And I love the way they used it. So normally leaf springs are not installed that way. They're installed this way. And they're used to carry very heavy loads. Let me show you an example. So in case you guys don't know, this is my Mahindra Roxor. It's effectively a 1980s Jeep chassis built in India since 1980s with a tractor, Mahindra tractor engine attached to the front. They sell these as regular cars in India. You can just buy them and drive them on the road. But here they're used as side-by-sides. It's really nice. We're not here to talk about this car or my utility vehicle. We're here to talk about the leaf springs. And that's usually how they're installed. So this is ancient technology, good old leaf springs. As you can see, they're used to carry loads on heavier vehicles that you put, sprayers on or other things. I'm still sort of scratching my head over this next one. I don't understand why they did it this way. Maybe packaging, or maybe they wanted to keep a proprietary brake pad design, but these brake pad designs are not standard at all. So what you see here is a nice Brembo type of brake. It's a fixed caliper, which is what you want in a sports car. This is the rear one. I'll show you the front one shortly. But effectively how a fixed caliper works is that this does not move around. And a floating caliper, like most vehicles have, especially most lighter vehicles have, is you have a piston that pulls on the caliper and the whole caliper moves to squeeze the brake pads. On a fixed caliper, you don't have that. On a fixed caliper, you have pistons on all sides of the brake pads. And this car specifically has individual brake pads per piston. So it's not 2 brake pads you're seeing there. It's actually 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 small little brake pads. And again, I'm not sure why this was chosen in the design room. They don't do that anymore with the newer Corvettes, but this is how it came from the factory. It's very interesting. I can't say I'm a big fan of that. Let's go ahead and go check out the fronts, because while it has 4 over there, there's 6 over here. And that's quite a lot. Again, these are the fixed calipers. In the front, very nice, large brakes, which is what you want in your sports car. And there's your 6. It's like 3 different levels of brake pads. So when you're changing brake pads, if you bought the individuals, you take these out, you take these out, and then you take these out, and you put them back in, and it's literally 1 per piston. And the pistons are kind of drawn out here. So there's 3 here and 3 on the other side. 6 piston calipers, lots of braking force with individual brake pads. Very interesting, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this a good idea? Does anybody really know why they did this? I'm still scratching my head. I really don't understand why they went with this design. Literally no other car that I've ever seen uses this design. In fact, I believe there are brake pads made to replace this kind of 6-piece design to make it a 2-piece design. 1 brake rotor on this side, 1 brake pad on this side, all set to go. But I'm not an engineer, so maybe I'm stupid. Let me know in the comments. For this next one, we have to step inside. And this car actually has keyless entry. It's amazing for a car designed in the early 2000s. This would have automatic keyless entry. Love this thing. So right under here, we will find, let's see if I can show you guys. Oh, there's a lot of carpet in the way, but both this floor and the floor under the passenger side are made out of a composite balsa wood and fiberglass composite sandwich. It's kind of interesting, and it goes to show you how much effort went into reducing weight in the Z06. So for this next one, we had to hop in the car because I gotta show you something I didn't expect this car to have. You know, this car came out in 2006. I didn't even have Skipshift back then. But let me show you that in certain parameters, this thing makes you go from first to fourth. I'll show you what that is. And that's the first to fourth shift. And honestly, this engine's so powerful. I'm in 5th gear now. It's only doing 45 miles an hour. I can put it in 6th. It'll basically idle. Take a look at that. 6th gear. Basically idling, doing 50. This is part of the reason why this thing gets such great mileage. You can put it in 6th gear and 50 miles an hour and cruise. Now, honestly, I don't really like that. It's kind of annoying to me, and I know why they did it. They did it to get the EPA rating that they wanted, so they didn't have to pay the gas guzzler tax. And I think they got away with it too. But in order to defeat that, I mean, they do sell, you know, I think you can tune it out of your system, or just rev first out a little bit more, and you don't have to shift into fourth. That's basically it. You rev it out a little bit past that point, and you can go right into whatever gear you want. So for this next item, it really took me by surprise, because most cars that have dry sump lubrication have some way of checking the oil that's not that difficult. But for the C6 Z06, it's an actual process to check your oil, and I like to check my oil every time I fill up the gas tank. In order to do that, you have to get your temperatures up to 175, between 170 and 175, and then shut your car off, wait 5 minutes, then check your oil. So let's go ahead and show you guys how to do that. And to show you guys, let's go ahead and do a little pull. As you can see, the temperature is 176. So now what I have to do is go to the garage, shut it down, and wait until 5 minutes, and call it a day. Here we are in my carport. It's 189 oil temperature. So I'll shut it off. I'm gonna wait 5, 6, let's put a timer on for 6 minutes, and then check the oil. So it's been exactly 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Doesn't have to be exact. So there's the way you check it. This is how you fill it if you need to fill some. Let's pull that out and show you guys. So here it is. As you can see, it's basically right at the middle. You don't want to overfill this thing. It's not good for it, and you also don't want to obviously run it empty. And it's kind of hard to see. So the reflection there, you see it stops right around the middle mark right there. That's what you want to see. But that's the procedure of checking the oil level on the C6 Z06. So this next one came to us as a surprise for me, because I didn't know it was even available on these cars. So when I bought this thing, I knew it was fully loaded. It was the top end 3LZ with the optional leather package. You know, it's got the leather dash, and if it's not garaged, by the way, it will crack and peel. But this one's perfect shape, because this car has always been garaged, even under my care. This thing has basically everything you would expect from any modern car, including built-in navigation. Let me show you guys. So this is the infotainment screen, and when you go to nav, it shows you your navigation, and you can go through the menu, you can route options, stored locations, navigation setup, and all of that good stuff, all built in. The other thing I want to add, is kind of like a bonus, is this is also a touch screen display. I had no idea. So it's a capacitive touch, so you have to all you do is click, it won't do it. You have to actually press on it for it to work, but it works. You can click on these, you can click on these, it actually works. Again, this is an old style. This has satellite navigation, all of that good stuff. This is way back in the day. In order to update navigation, by the way, you click this button, you put it right in there. There's a DVD, has a DVD player, a CD player, and you could install new maps using that DVD right there. How awesome is that, guys? So for this next one I want to show you guys is the back. First of all, it's got this little screen thing here, which is pretty nice, and it says Corvette at the top. Can't beat that. That's not what I wanted to show you guys. Back here is where they keep the battery. So that's good to know. However, and I didn't know this and it surprised me, that's why I'm sharing it with you guys. Not only do you have this little netting system where you can store stuff, it's got all the documents and things, but it also has this secret compartment. Look at that. You got all this space here, and you can store whatever you want in there. A lot of people use this to store their battery tender, or the battery charger for the battery when you're not driving the car around. But that's good to know. It has an extra storage cubby hole right back here. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think it's pretty useful. I stored a few things there when I went shopping. Now, it does get hot when you're driving on the highway for a long time. It's not the coolest place, so I wouldn't store anything that can melt. But there you go. Here's another bonus. This is soft close. Push it down a little bit, and it closes by itself. Before I show you this last one, can we just admire how cool this looks when you open the hood and it opens that way versus the standard opening from the front? That's really cool, and I think that's actually the best way hoods should open. That way, if somebody forgets to latch something or something goes wrong, the hood doesn't go flying because it's hinged on the front. I think this is the best possible way to install a hood, but you know, it's not done that way anymore. How cool is it also that they put a light on the hood? I've never seen any other car, put a light on the hood. When you open the hood, that light turns on. I think that's awesome to have. All right, so this last one is super cool, and it has to do with performance traction management. And there you go. That's how you do it. You get into competitive driving mode, and what that does, it changes the way traction control works. I'll show you guys one more time how to activate it. You go 1, 2, and then it'll say competitive driving mode. You'll see the little yellow light right there. And then to turn your traction control back on, all you have to do is hit the button. Traction system and active handling on. So what is competitive driving mode? It allows a experienced driver to get on track and kind of push the limits of the car while still providing a little bit of yaw control and a little bit of traction control to keep you out of the biggest troubles. It does let you surpass a lot of traction limitations that you get. Let's say when you're on the road, you don't necessarily want to be sliding around. On the track, it's all about angle of attack and how you slide through the corner. And so competitive driving mode, and I believe this is the first iteration of it on any sports car that Chevy made. They've kept improving on it, and I love it on my Camaro. On the new Corvettes, competitive driving mode is amazing. And really all it does is kind of reduces the traction control, but keeps you out of the biggest troubles you can find. Of course, you can completely disable traction control. You just hold that button down and it'll completely disable stability control and traction control. But with competitive mode on, a lot of people have said that they're actually faster with competitive mode on. Now, it depends on what your driving skill is, depends on what your driving style is. And for me, I actually enjoy competitive driving mode. I use it whenever I'm going, so in the Camaro especially. I use performance traction management, they call it now. And it's an amazing system. I love that Chevy made that for the Corvettes and for the Camaros. And I can't believe that in 2006, when this came out, this car had it. Now this is 2009. They made minor tweaks and updates along the way. But man, it's an incredible feature to have. So that about wraps it up, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If I missed anything, if there's any other surprising things that this car has, like for example, I didn't really mention the HVAC system in this car. The air conditioning system is super efficient at cooling you down. And most people haven't heard about that, about the Corvette, because most people that buy Corvettes drive them hard. but this is a very comfortable cruiser car as well. But yeah, if I missed anything, let me know down in the comments below. Again, appreciate you guys. If you subscribe to the channel, it motivates me to do more of these videos. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Peace.